Hey everybody, it's Charlie. Awesome news. Disney's CEO did a big earnings call where he talked about their new streaming services. During that, he announced plans for Fantastic Four, X-Men movies as soon as the Fox Disney deal completes. Now, buried within that were a bunch of other plans that they announced for what's going on with the streaming service, where all the content is going to go, what's going to be happening with the Deadpool franchise. So what I'll do is I'll break down all the streaming plans because that's happening at the end of next year. Then I'll talk about what's going on with all the characters, like all the X-Men characters, all the Deadpool characters. So it's all really good news. It's not quite as confusing as it sounds. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the Marvel videos. As you can see, it's going to get crazy next year, and we're getting ready for that Captain Marvel trailer really soon. There is that Infinity War giveaway that's going on too that I'll explain at the end of the video. So big stuff that's happening first. Disney is pulling all of its content from all the streaming platforms to its own Disney streaming service at the end of next year. So what's happening next year is that because Disney is rolling out their new streaming platform and everyone's like, wait, do I have to pay for another streaming platform now? They confirmed that because they'll own Hulu now, what they'll do is they're going to offer a bundle for a decreased price. So you'll have an opportunity to get the Disney streaming service, which is basically going to get all of the Disney, Star Wars, and Marvel content, TV shows and movies, along with Hulu and the new ESPN streaming service for a greatly reduced price. Early prediction is that Disney's going to offer that mega streaming bundle for less than $25 a month. The only Marvel stuff that's going to be staying on Hulu and on Netflix is the stuff that those networks bought, like the Marvel Netflix shows. But aside from that, every piece of content, movie, or television show that Disney now owns with all their brands, Star Wars, Marvel, the straight-up Disney stuff, that's PG-13 or less, is going to go to the Disney streaming service. So that means that the Deadpool movies and the Deadpool TV show that they've been trying to get off the ground for a little while, that's going to go to Hulu. That means that any future R-rated film that Disney makes with their IP is going to go to Hulu. Now, I don't see Disney ever making a Star Wars R-rated movie or a TV show, so I don't think that's going to be too much of an issue, but it's really just the exception you make for stuff like Deadpool, stuff that really only works when he's R-rated. They already said that they're not going to be messing with the Deadpool universe of characters. The Disney CEO, Bob Iger, said that he's a big fan of the franchise, so they're just going to let them continue to do what they've been doing well. The rumor, though, is that they're getting ready to film X-Force later this year, and instead of just calling it X-Force, they're going to make it more like Deadpool 3, and Deadpool will be in the title. Like, they're going to sell it as a straight-up Deadpool sequel, but as long as he's R-rated, you're not going to see him anywhere on the Disney streaming service, and I don't think that they want to water him down by putting him in a whole bunch of PG-13 movies. That doesn't mean that it's going to be that way for forever. You just have to imagine that Kevin Feige has about the next 4 years worth of Marvel MCU films planned. Beyond that, anything can change, especially with this Fox Disney deal. The bigger news here, I think, is the fact that they just confirmed that they plan to make X-Men and Fantastic Four standalone movies. Like, people are just wondering, are you going to use those characters? Are we going to see straight-up X-Men films? There were a lot of rumors about what was going to happen with Dark Phoenix because of this deal. They're going into 3 months of reshoots, but I think that they're just trying to do their swan song because it just makes sense that they recast all those characters when Disney gets a hold of them, and in a couple years, you roll out your new X-Men team, and it's completely fresh, and it makes sense within the continuity of the MCU. So even though I would love to see James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender come back, take it or leave it with Jennifer Lawrence, most of them have been playing those characters for 10 years at this point, meaning that they are very expensive as actors. Remember, we're at about 10 years in the MCU. Some of those actors have gotten super expensive, like Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., Chris Hemsworth. So part of the job of these big franchise shifts is in sort of clearing the board so that they don't have insanely expensive movies before they ever start shooting. So in the way that Incredible Hulk way back during Phase 1 is very much canon to the MCU films, but it feels like a very different thing because it's Edward Norton and Mark Ruffalo didn't come till the Avengers. It feels like a completely separate thing. That's kind of how we can view the Fox X-Men films. You could say other universe, you could treat it like Logan. Like, Logan is canon to the other X-Men films, but it's also really loose with the way it treats some of the other X-Men films within the continuity. I think it's safe to say the only character they're not immediately going to recast within the next couple of years is going to be Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. Eventually, they will have to recast the character. We'll get MCU Avengers Wolverine, but I don't think that that's going to happen for quite a while. And if Hugh Jackman does come back, it'll be for some crazy time travel old man Logan stuff. A long time ago, he was quoted as saying that he would love to do Wolverine in some sort of Marvel MCU crossover moment if they ever got the chance to do something like that. But that was before the Disney deal, so nobody thought that that was ever going to happen. So I wouldn't hold your breath on Hugh Jackman in a yellow costume as part of the Avengers anytime soon. I think when we see the new versions of the X-Men in the MCU, there'll be younger versions of the characters. There was a really funny line during Deadpool 2 where he's forming the X-Force team and he makes the joke about finding young people that can carry the franchise for 10 years.
We need to build a fucking team. They need to be tough, morally flexible, and young enough to carry this franchise 10 to 12 years.
A team of highly skilled motherfuckers. I'm talking about some Ocean's 14 shit, Rogue 2, John Wick 3.
When Marvel gets its hands on the X-Men, that's kind of the thought process that they'll be going through. Like, we need to have people that we can cast that can do these X-Men characters for the next 10 years or so if things work out. I've already talked a little bit about what Kevin Feige will probably wind up doing when he actually is allowed to use those characters, doing the Spider-Man Civil War thing where, yes, you do have a solo X-Men film, but you introduce a couple of those characters in someone else's film first, like in an Avengers film or in another big A-list film like Black Panther. Fantastic Four, here's the thing, like they say that they're developing new X-Men movies and TV shows, Fantastic Four movies and TV shows. Any Fantastic Four TV show would probably wind up being animated. It'd be a little more family friendly. It'd go on that Disney streaming service. Now, everybody's seen that John Krasinski Mr. Fantastic concept art. Like, do A Quiet Place, your wife in real life, Emily Blunt, playing Sue Storm. Like, please do just like a hardcore, awesome version of Fantastic Four. I think whatever they end up doing with that movie, it'll feel more in the tone of an MCU film. So, like, you have certain expectations when you go to see a Marvel film about how things are going to go. Some of them are a little bit more serious, like Civil War or Winter Soldier. Some of them lean more into comedy, like Thor Ragnarok or Guardians of the Galaxy. All those films should give you a good idea for what the new versions of X-Men and Fantastic Four will feel like. Like I said though, Deadpool is the exception to the rule. He's still kind of off by himself, per what Disney's CEO has said. So what will probably happen is that they'll make a big announcement at Comic-Con next year, because that'll be July, so it'll be after the deal is done, so they can say whatever they want to, like, surprise, look at all the new awesome stuff we're going to make with these characters. So yes, of course, it all comes back around to Secret Wars, like that's where you stitch everything together. Something like that is so big that they would probably wait to do that as sort of their bookend for whatever the next phase of films is going to be. So like Avengers 4, Infinity War are the bookend for the last 10 years. Secret Wars with everybody on screen all at the same time together will probably be their next big bookend. But just post all your questions and reactions in the comments below. I'm still doing that Infinity War Blu-ray giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on the video. You may have seen that Sony confirmed plans to cross Spider-Man as a character over with their Venom franchise and all their Sony Spider-Verse films. So I'll do a video explaining how that's going to go down and what their actual plans are later tonight. Click here to learn all about that new Captain Marvel Easter egg that everybody spotted in Infinity War, and click here to rewatch that deleted Iron Man scene. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.